Greetings, brethren. We are starting a new topic today entitled What Happens When We Die. This is a new series. We'll be studying this topic for the next 2.5 months. We have a lot of truth to unpack. We want to understand what happens when we die. Do we go somewhere? Do we live on? Can we return when we die? Therefore, this is a very, very special topic. I just want you to stay close by. As you know, statistics have actually indicated that 1 out of 1 would die. In one way or the other, we are all going to die. It's a matter of time, otherwise we are all moving graves. But the question is, what really happened when I die? You know, there are so many things that have been discussed about what happens when people die. And there is something called near-death experience, which has been discussed in several places. I remember one day in the village, long time ago, where I grew up. This guy alleges that he died and he went to heaven. And as he arrived in heaven, in one place, he said on his left side, there was like a party. There were big pots of meat there, and there were big drums full of alcohol. And he decided that, let me go and enjoy myself. But as he was about to go and do that, one of the elders who were there said to him, "Wait, don't do that. It's not yet time for you to die. We want you to go back to earth. You have not finished what you are supposed to do." Therefore, he said, "I then resurrected." You know, this story, it sounds as if this guy was just hallucinating. Was he really, really dead? But there is another story which I remember very well. This gentleman, I met him, he said, the leader of our church, the way how he started his church, the story said he died and he went to heaven. So as he arrived in heaven, as he was about to enjoy himself with the company of those in heaven, he was told that, wait, it's not yet time for you to enjoy. Because you have not finished your task on earth, you need to go back to earth and then begin a church and tell people about Jesus Christ. Therefore, he said, I resurrected. You know, this is all myth. There is no evidence of that. Nobody can prove those stories except those who are telling those stories. But you find that, we as the children of God, we have got answers to everything from the Bible. Not long ago, there are quite a lot of books of near-death experiences which have been written where people relate their experiences, what happened to them. They say that, we have died. And one of the guys, I remember, he was saying that, as I died, I was on my way going to heaven. I was now in the clouds and I left my body. I could see my body. I had left my body. So now I left my body and I was dead and I was going to heaven. But suddenly I returned to life. To be honest, those stories are many, but there is no truth in those stories. One of the things in fact, there are quite a lot of things that you realize about this near-death experience. One, none of those experiences really happen. In fact, those people who relate the near-death experience, they were not really dead. And many near-death experiences basically resembles hallucination. Somebody says, I could see my body. I could see my body and I was going up in the sky. And also, out-of-body near-death experience, it tends to contradict the Bible. It goes totally against the Bible. The Bible says in the book of Job chapter 7 verse 9, as the cloud is consumed and vanishes away, so he that goeth down to the grave shall come up no more. In other words, when I have died, I will not return to life. Job goes further in Job chapter 16 verse 22, when a few years are come, then I'll go the way whence I shall not return. In other words, when you die, it's a one-way traffic. You cannot go back. You cannot turn to the left nor to the right. Therefore, the Bible disagrees with the near-death experience. Therefore, with that in mind, I submit to you all the near-death experiences. It's all false. It says in the book of Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27, and as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after that judgment, therefore men can only live once, and after living this life here on earth, the next thing is death, and when he resurrects is judgment. And we're going to talk about resurrection later on. Now the question is, where does these stories come from? We are going to deal with that slightly later on, but let's actually pick the fourth point about near-death experience. Many of these near-death experiences frightfully are similar to what spiritualism teach. Now the question is, what exactly does spiritualism teach? Spiritualism claims that the dead are not dead. It also claims that, when you die, you are not really dead, you can live on. In fact, there is a gentleman, a spiritualist by the name Arthur Hill. He says, the fundamental principle of spiritualism is that human beings survive bodily death. And that occasionally, under conditions not yet fully understood, we can communicate with those who have gone before. Therefore, the spiritualists believe that the dead are not really dead. The dead can communicate. Not only that, spiritualism believe that we can communicate with those who are dead. Not only can we communicate with those who are dead, they believe that there is no death in the graveyard. In fact, there's another spiritualist who lives in England. His name is, who used to live in England. I'm not sure if he's still there. Sir Olive Lodge. Sir Olive Lodge is quoted saying, there is no death in the graveyard. I have frequent talks with the dead. I cannot doubt that people live after death, for I frequently talk with them. Now the question is, who will he be talking to? Could it be that he is talking to somebody else and he thinks that he is talking to a dead person? Now the question is, when somebody has died, can they communicate? Now listen to another spiritualist. He said, spiritualism says that the dead know more than the living. And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. That's quoting from Genesis chapter 3 verse 4. In this, as in many other Bible passages, the devil told the truth and the Lord is in error. Oh, this is very interesting. Spiritualism believes that God is in error, but the devil is the one telling the truth. In other words, what you realize in spiritualism, they believe that their God is the devil. Because by saying the devil is telling the truth, they are actually justifying the acts of the devil, and in believing that God is telling a lie, they are actually saying that God is the bad one and the devil is a good one. But the Bible makes it very clear in John chapter 8 verse 44, describing who the devil is. You are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Therefore, the one who is actually a liar is not God, but the devil. So whatever the spiritualists may teach about the dead people, he is telling a lie, because he has received it from the father of lies. So it's like father, like son. Deception is the profession of the devil. And the devil is seen in action from Genesis chapter 3. Let's actually see the devil in action. Genesis chapter 3 from verse 1, the Bible says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, as God said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. Now, the devil is presenting here. And as the devil presented himself, he did not present himself as a devil. He presented himself as a medium. The devil does not come in person. The devil does not come as a person because you detect him. You know he's a devil. He is always using a medium. And the medium says, you shall not surely die. Remember, the spiritualist said, you will not surely die. And he said the devil is telling the truth. Now, this message which the devil preached, when he said, you shall not surely die, this was the first sermon which the devil preached. And in this first sermon, the devil got converts. Adam and Eve believed him because they wanted to be like God. They believed that they were not going to die. Oh, because of that, today, this sermon had millions and millions of converts here on earth. The first message is preached. Unfortunately, our foreparents were deceived. Now, when you study religions, there are quite a lot of religions here on earth. If you go to Hinduism, they believe that when you die, you are not really dead. You live on. You can return as an ape. You can return as a tree. When you go to the Chinese traditionals, they don't believe you are not really dead. When you go to Buddhism, they don't believe you are really dead when you die. When you go to atheism, all those humanistic people or humanistic thinking, they don't believe you are really dead when you die. When you go to Christians, my fellow colleagues, many of us, we don't believe that when you are dead, you are really dead. Excuse me. We believe you live on. We believe the dead can communicate. We have got so many theories about those who have died, and we believe that we can still talk to them. Same applies to my colleagues in Islam. And many of us, we have got this belief that when you die, it's either you go to hell, or hell is down, they believe, or you go to heaven. These are two destinations which seem to be very popular in Christianity. Now the question is, which I have for you is, those of your friends who have died, are they in hell or are they in heaven? Now the question is, how do you know? So far we have got two teachings, truth and error. Jesus, in fact, God says you will surely die. The devil says you shall not surely die. We know for sure that in Jesus, John chapter 14 verse 6, the Bible says, Jesus said unto them, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And in John chapter 17, we realize that, truth is in the word of God. We are sanctified by the truth. But we've already learned from John chapter 8 verse 44 that the devil is a liar. So now we've got two teachers. The devil on one side and Jesus on the other. Jesus said you will surely die. The devil said you shall not surely die. Now the question is, who are we going to believe? The whole world wonders after these two theories. In fact, you realize that this is where we find that all the religions are based on these two thinking. You will surely die, or you shall not surely die. Now the question is, who should we believe? Now in our next presentation, we're going to go much deeper. The question which we'll be asking is, where will we go if we die? What will happen to our soul? Are we going to heaven? Are we going to hell? Are we passing through purgatory? Are we going to reincarnate as donkeys, as monkeys, as goats, as some kind of people? The Bible will help us to answer all these questions. Please stay tuned. Subscribe to the Herald Report. This is a very serious topic, and I want to promise you we are going to go much deeper into it, and we are going to unearth some serious and important truth which will change our life. Remember, as we learned from when we did the series Inspiration of Prophets, We will remain in the Bible. As we learn from Isaiah chapter 8:20, to the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no truth in them. And remember John chapter 8 verse 32, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So this is a time to know the truth, so that we may be set free, so that we may know what to believe, so that we may know what to trust, so that we may live with hope. My brothers and sisters, this is crucial, this is important, that we may know how to live. Where will I go when I die? Will I live on, or something else? May the Lord bless us as we think and contemplate on this special topic, and as we continue to study more in Jesus' name.